Well, greetings, friends. Thank you for joining me again today. We've been talking about the Word of God, the whole Word of God, both Old and New Testament, and how the Word of God is our standard. It has the rules or the laws that we live by. And also how there are many religions, and when you examine them all and all their writings and all their beliefs, that the Word of God, the Bible, Christianity has the highest standards. And remember, the higher the standard, the more valuable things are. We talked about how cars have raised their standards and how valuable and how the comfort level raises. And it's the same way with Christianity. But today I want to talk to you about the New Testament. Now I stand in front of a beautiful home, and the descendants of the people that live in this home, their descendants lived in the home that we were looking at the last couple days. And now, of course, the standards are higher, and he lives in a very much comfortable place setting, and God has blessed him. He loves the Lord, but he was influenced by those days of the past, his parents, his grandparents that lived in that old house. But the people and the family that lives here, God has blessed them. They still serve God. They hold the Word of God to their heart. Now, in the New Testament, Jesus came and everything changed. And Jesus said in Matthew 5, 6, and 7, it's the Sermon on the Mount. And some kind of look at that as the Old Testament, equivalent to the Old Testament law. But he said in chapter number 5, verse 17, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." And then he gives some examples of anger, lust, divorce, and oaths, and loving your enemies, and so on. But one of the things I just want to pull out of these examples he gave, just to give you a principle here, he says, "You've heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery,' but I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent in his heart has already committed adultery." So what we see here is a transition from a letter to the law to a spirit of the law, to where now it's in the heart. God looks at the heart. And friends, I want to encourage you today, as we look at the whole Word of God, and we look at the Old Testament, laying the foundation for the New Testament, as we live in this New Testament time, God is looking at our heart, whether we have anger in our heart, bitterness in our heart, lust in our heart. And so, friends, we must remember, many religions, many writings out there, but when you look at the Word of God, it has the highest standard. And so we must live by His standards. And as we live by His standards, His rules, His laws, we've got to remember, He will bless those who follow His rules, but those that don't are going to be cursed. Well, look, we'll see you tomorrow as we continue this study. Bye-bye.